Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of WTRL number 105 for their team time trial. We're out on the Innsbruckring, and this is all about celebrating the Platinum League across all of the zones today. I'm Nathan Guerra, Dave Towle, of course, next to me. And the what we do each and every week, if you're unfamiliar with it, is we highlight the top end of the WTRL TTT League and those who qualify each week into the top 10. Sometimes I think we sneak in 11, right, or 11 teams into it, but it's the top teams. They get to be celebrated and seen for at the top of the categories. Today we are checking out the fastest of the fast, Doppio Espresso and Vienna Espresso across the men's/mixed and the women's racing. Dave, Innsbruckring, it's going to be fast and furious. We've got 27 kilometers, somewhere between 26, 27 kilometers. And it's all about leg snapper, Dave, really. I mean, it's about keeping it together and then punching that leg snapper real hard and keeping it together over the leg snapper.
Before we went live, Nathan, we were talking about dreams and nightmares. And for me, maybe my greatest nightmare would be on the Canyon men's team and being involved in this team time trial and trying to get up the leg snapper with these guys. We've got a really interesting group of racers. It's fun to jump in with this group as well. So you get a look at the circuits out here. Really well known. It's actually fitting that we're in Innsbruck, a city that has Olympic DNA, with the exciting announcement from Zwift this morning about the Olympics and UCI and the Olympic Virtual Series. So perfect place to be. It was a winter games, but either way, all part of the same movement. So you can see again that the leg snapper is where really the teams are going to face their greatest challenge. It's basically flat outside of that, not perfectly flat. You can see there's not a whole lot of vertical gain, and then bam, it looks like an EKG and a heart attack happening right there at about 5K. But Nathan, this is a challenging course. It really is, and it's a little hard to get your rhythm when you have to hit the leg snapper 3 different times. I don't know how you would ride it. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to race it later today, but this would be a fun course to race on.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be jumping in tonight in zone 14. It's always a late night for me, and I actually look forward to it every single week. It's one of the highlights. I also actually put one of the athletes I coach out onto an OTR team, jumping into one of the, I think he's riding for Blur out there today, one of the top teams. I said, you need to
found a team. I saw that.
Yeah, I told him, hey,
yeah.
I said, hey, you need some over-unders, and this is a fun way to do it. So let's see how this goes, and threw him into the deep end, into a Doppio team. So we'll see how he gets at it here, but put him through the ropes as well. But, for me, on this course, it will be about one of the main things I would say for all the riders out there, and from my experience, I would try to not overcook the front end of that of your group. How smooth you are throughout the entirety of your pulls, how much everyone can rest, how much they're not fighting each other's avatars. It's going to be even more crucial, because when you hit the leg snapper, if everybody feels like they're under control of themselves, they can go out of control for just a little while and then descend in those super tucks over and over again. So I really think that it'll be key as far as who wins today, or who has a really good time out there today, as to whether or not they keep themselves under control through the flat sections, keep their rhythm well. And then if they just really are able to just full on attack that climb and get into those super tucks, I think that's going to be the real way that you can find a lot of extra time out there today. So now we do have our poster competition. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, my advice, really, the Italians have the term al dente, right? That's pasta that's not overcooked. You're going to want to keep your riders. Now, you know who you are on the team, on the totem pole of ability, and absolutely what you're going to be wanting to do.
I'm loving that example, al dente. My grandma used to always say, "You like it al dente, Nathan. Right? You like it al dente." She would say, "I'd be like, what are you talking about?"
That's one of the biggest gripes that pro cyclists have about racing in France. Is I love France, but they don't know how to make pasta, not like the Italians do. That's for sure. And so they do other things really, really well. But certainly when you look at it, so 3 times up leg snapper. If you're blowing the team up the first time, you're doing it wrong. You really need to have the captain of the team take control, marshal the squad, and have the riders. Don't have your lower tier riders taking big pulls right before the leg snapper. Have them sitting in and ride your way into this, especially the first time up it. I mean, everybody who Zwifts has been out on Innsbruckring. I have to think this is it's a really nice place to go, kind of knock out a little distance, get some climbing in, but racing is going to be completely different. So Nathan, sorry, I just wanted to throw that
No, that's
thought in
great.
there because
Really great.
you got our posters going, and
Yeah,
I
let's get
chose
into
one
it.
that yeah. So I was talking about Innsbruck Winter Olympics, and my team. There you go. Kind of mixing up a few different themes here. The All Stars. That sort of makes you think of the shoes, right? The Converse All Stars. The Stan Smith, Chuck Taylor. I'm sorry. Stan Smith is the tennis shoe. Chuck Taylor there. And here's the team looking good. And certainly, I don't know if you get much more aerodynamic than a bobsled, Nathan.
Yeah, pretty. I'm loving that they put this together, and it does make a lot of sense specifically for the course that we're on out there today too. So, and it's interesting. I don't think they saw the announcement most likely before making this. So, kind of
No, they're really good
coincidental. Yeah, hit it on the head there.
visionaries.
Of course,
Yeah.
very cool. So for me, I loving this one here, Dave. This, I'm always, bring the Kraken. I mean, this is the Dirty
This is
Chronicle,
great.
and the Stewart, and this whole, continual chronicle that is going on week in and week out. Loving how they do this. I wonder what Captain Darian would do. Peter, ask him for directions to Innsbruck. Stuart, I've told you that you can't travel to Innsbruck by sea. They're out lost. I don't even know if we're going to see them this week. They're still stuck out there being taken down. I'm loving the Dirt always doing a
There's
great
no
job.
way they've got
Families and
internet out there. There's no internet out there for sure.
They should have put one of them on a bike trying to pedal away. Great little job done here. And then I did a
would love it.
complimentary for our man Martin was too tired to get his. I think Martin's been working his, so I gave him The Sound of Music as a nice little wake up. I picked for him here. So The Sound
Perfect.
of Platinum League with TFC Hurricane. More watts. The wake up call. Always love
The
it.
hills
One of
are
my favorites of all.
alive with Watts. So I've never actually seen the movie. I hate to admit that,
What?
but I do know.
Oh!
Well, it's an Austrian
boy.
family, right? That World War II, I believe, is
Dave's
going
in big
on.
trouble. Dave is in big trouble with everyone right now. Like,
I
we
was
are going to
focusing
have
on
a
bike
watch
racing.
party. We're having a watch party and watching The Sound of Music. I mean, it's one of the all-time
Spaceballs.
greats.
And Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Man, what is going on here, Dave? All right, let's
But we
jump
were
down
talking
into
about-
the racing.
Yeah, there you
quick
go.
here. And
Get me off of the fire here, Nathan. Throw me a bone, please. I'm feeling
we'll work on it.
embarrassed.
We actually have the images of the women hanging out. That's going to be the first thing that we're going to see. Actually,
I'm excited for that too. Yeah, there's Kirsten
Yeah, this
Polk.
is gonna be a solid, Sox for Watts. I'm seeing Canyon in here. The other thing that you mentioned, they've got about 17 minutes to go to the start of their race. One thing that you did mention about this was that Canyon is showing up today also in the men's side of things.
Nice.
From what I heard. So, this is going to be
Yeah.
a really big day when it comes to racing out here today. On the men's side, though, / mixed, we do have Team CLS. They were the first ones to get out on course. Let's go ahead and jump in and see how things are playing out for them. Our splits are starting to come in, so we'll get an idea. We
great.
also have a few featured teams out here, and we'll start talking a little bit about what they have been up to get into here and who they are. I believe we are going to be in with the Down and Dirty Vipers, who are currently in with a 1044. We also do have the Jekkas, who are kind of the new kids on the block, who have suddenly found themselves up in the top 3 from last week, which is really cool to see. But they are a team that I was only recently seeing them on the radar in the last couple of months. So great to see them, really a top team, and they're going to be one of our featured teams today as well.
So this is a really good example here. Now, we can quickly, as we've got the teams out on course here in Innsbruck, take a look at some of the first splits coming in. Again, it's going to be 3 circuits out on Innsbruckring. This is espresso, so we're up on the high end here, and we are D-Lax at 10:28, 5 seconds quicker than the cryogen gulls at this point. Always worth noting that on qualifying, we see the teams from slowest to fastest. So the last teams out on course have set the fastest times on the previous week. Now, every week is different in the WTRL, the World Tactical Racing League. So you can read a lot into that. You can't read everything into it, as we well know, but there's the Ram Raiders coming in with a 10:46. They're only going to be one. It's really stacking up close. And today, Nathan, I know I make a lot of dramatic statements, but I think it's pretty fair to say that the race will be won and lost on the leg snapper, but it's a lot more than that because you bookend that leg snapper over and over with these long, relatively steady efforts. But here you get a good look at what the leg snapper is all about. It's not that long. I think we're talking about less than 400 meters. It's not insanely steep. You don't see 16, 17%, but I tell you what, 8% grade coming at you steady. It's a body blow.
It really is, the orange numbers. And being so short, you can almost sprint over it. And I think that's the thing about the leg snapper is that if you've got the energy to do so, you can punch the entire time. And so, people are willing to risk a little bit more of their energy, risk a little bit more of what they've got in the tank to throw down. And that's what makes their leg snapper so hard is how everybody tends to ride it because you can just attack it really, really hard and not suffer later on for it too much if it were a 2-minute, 3-minute climb. Instead, it's a 30-second, maybe 1 minute most. Pow, just go. And that's why it can be a knockout punch for some people because of it.
100%, Nathan. And, we were talking about, so there's climbers' climbs, and there's climbs that are punchers' climbs. There's really no such thing as a sprinter's climb per se, but let's go with punchers. And that's exactly what Nathan is talking about, and that's what we've got right here, right now. This is going to be Tansy here, the ART nuclear team. That split of 10:28 has held up, Nathan. TSZ Waffles has come through with a 10:48 here. But very impressive job by We Are DLAX, and that's going to be, you think that's a reference to LAX Airport in LA? I don't, actually, but we'll figure out what's going on there because they've already become part of the conversation. In real life, I've always wanted to see what it's like to stand on that block right there, that corner, as you come up and over the top, and now you want to keep the pressure on. The teams that do well, they don't just coast for a few seconds there, they push over the top. Jumping in with Hestad here now. So many Norwegian flags. Absolutely. I think that's one of the most beautiful flags in the world, and I love the fact that Norway punches above its weight out here.
Vikings Gleipners, who we're looking at here. Adam Racing Nuclear, that art team we were just looking at a moment ago at that 10:38. Gleipner 10:41. They're battling it out for that 5th and 6th. They were our 2nd and 3rd seed to go out. Down and Dirty Vipers a little ways behind them at 10:44, as you can see. Jekka's, it looks like having a good day, but it's Cryogen Gulls taking over at that 10:33. Going to be quite the battle at the top with Evo Espresso, as well at that 9 point with the top team coming in 10:23. It's all really close here, Dave, though, coming into the 8K mark.
Well, Nathan, look at this right now. A freight train coming up and over the top of the snapper. They've got 7 riders together. This is where they pick up 2, 3, 4, maybe more than 5 seconds in the next few K if they can get it right. This is Zwiftcraft that we're looking at now. This is one of the things that I know you love, Nathan, is trying to eke out another second here by the team just rolling over the top. No longer are you looking to stay in a single file line and be precise.
The speed roll, the roll throw, the roll through. I talked a lot about that on World of Zwift actually yesterday during the Cabo climbs. The roll through. It's all about rolling through with speed, Dave.
Did you see that incredible post? Our friends who run these Zwift social media accounts, I think they do a great job. And I saw, I'm going to say it was 3 or 4 days ago, that Caterpillar roll through little GIF that they put up.
I actually missed it. I missed that one.
Okay, it's nature. I mean, it's real. It's a group of, 200, 300 caterpillars that have devised this technique. You can go, I think we can find it, but it's exactly what you're talking about. The caterpillars have figured out this way, working as a group, and they keep climbing over the top of each other, and they turn themselves from 200 caterpillars into one organism. that moves twice as fast as any single caterpillar could move. Isn't that incredible? Nature never ceases to amaze me.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
We'll find
Cryogen
that for you,
here.
Nathan.
4 riders. This is a moment right now for Cryogen. Not the Gulls tend to be really, I mean, they've got a 10:33 going right now, but I have a feeling with only 4 riders, only halfway through this race for them, 15K in, they're going to have to get things together at this point because it looks to me like things are struggling. Now, we are in with one of our featured teams. This is going to be John from the Down and Dirty Vipers. Matt, Fredder's in here as well. K-Dane, Tiago, Kyle, and they are having a pretty good ride here, 10:44. They're in the conversation still. With the reality of this course and with how close all these teams are, 38 to 10:48 or at 10:23 even, it's only 25 seconds. On this course with the leg snapper and how hard some of the teams might have went out, I do think that can be made up. So we'll see if they were able to temper themselves. They got plenty of riders still involved here. I do see 7 still here across the team. We'll see what the Down and Dirty Vipers can pull off.
Nathan, you live and you learn. So I have a feeling that I've been mispronouncing Jonathan's name going all the way back to the Amgen Tour of California in about 2015. Jonathan on this team right here. He was a former domestic pro, rode the American circuit for quite a few years, and he even ended up on the podium wearing some special jerseys at Tour of California, which is by far the biggest stage race that we've ever had in the United States. And I think he pronounces his last name Frater rather than Fretter, just looking at this new, so I'm actually using my tools here, and Jonathan Frater, because it says Frater like a freight train. So I'm thinking I've been mispronouncing his name, and he's just been nice enough to
well, there he
mention,
is.
but,
you recognize this guy? I mean, you've seen him at the Amgens.
So Tara, his wife.
Of course. Well, of course, from broadcasts. Yeah, of course.
Right. Yeah, she's a huge part of the ZRL. She just jumped up into Premier League. So they are certainly a Zwift power couple, that's for sure. And I'm a big fan of what they're all about. So that's Jonathan. This team's going to be good. And I'm just picking up on Down and Dirty Vipers here. Tom Stagg, Kieran Daniel, Matt Lawrence, Tiago Barreria, Mark Inderheis, Kyle Benson, John Poole, and sometimes they're able to get Chris Van de Poel out with them. He's done the Crocodile Trophy in Australia, which is super cool. So this is a team that we're going to be paying a lot of attention to. Nice to see we've got in camera. Looks like they're doing a good job out here. And let's take a look at some of the splits coming in, Nathan. Unbelievable day we're having. I'm feeling a really good energy. And there they are, ART. That's Atom Racing Team Nuclear Edition. And they are nuclear. 21:10 at that second check. It's not a long course today. And the leg snapper it's a big feature, but it doesn't take a whole lot of time. So it's going to be a quick day on the bike here today. The Vikings in with a 21:18, and that's Vikings Glepnir. Team CLS Dynamos 21:26. You can see it's only 16 seconds back from first to third at these splits. Ram Raiders coming in with the 21:34. So that Atom Racing 10:38, Nathan, it wasn't the fastest time that we saw. Evo Espresso, who did we get it there? Nope, not yet. I think they're going to be the next team to update at the split because we are DLAX in with the 20:39. That's quick, Nathan. Very, very quick. Down and Dirty Diapers, the team were Down and Dirty Vipers. Sorry there.
Hold on. These are the dads inside riding trainers team too. I mean, this is great. That's that was a Freudian slip there coming through about what the reality of these teams are. I mean, they have diapers probably on the back of the jersey somewhere next to the bottle. It's just hidden in the pocket. So loving that, Dave. So Dave, real quickly, I do want to feature.
That's a classic.
I do want to feature Tiago here. Tiago, it's great to have him with the Down and Dirty Vipers. ZRL for quick, but with dirt.
Swimmer.
Swimmer, collegiate swimmer, turned triathlete, turned Zwifter. I mean, this guy is a monster of an athlete. Exercise science professor at Syracuse University. His wife was part of the Dirt Dog ZRL D Division World Champions, actually. They got 2 girls, 3 and 5 years old, of course, a part of Dirt. Makes him push harder to relieve the stress. Loving it. Finished a V Everesting in January. Virtual 10K Rome in February. So very committed Zwifter, Tiago.
So swimmers are amazing athletes. A lot of my friends when I was a kid were competitive swimmers, and the dedication that we as who identify as cyclists or triathletes. Well, I guess a triathlete would really understand, right? Because they're right in the middle of all of that. But you can see how much he has developed his upper body, which does you absolutely no good in the world of Zwift, but it does do you a lot of good in the world of the world. So Tiago looks like an awesomely impressive human being out here. And now we get a nice perspective of a cool pain cave. Looks like a pain office,
Yeah, and in a
actually.
lot of pain at
Pretty
180,
professional.
just got done with his pole here. This is going to be Kyle Benson.
So Kyle Benson working hard. Again, this is the down and dirty Vipers that we're talking about. Kyle is a rider and supporter of the Police Unity Tour. I think that's really cool. Good job. Every year he rides 240 miles from Richmond, Virginia, side of the 2015 World Road Championships, to Washington, D.C. So he loves bikes. I think at the end of the day, ended up buying a smart trainer, found the dirts, lost 35 pounds. He's a father of a 5 and a 7. Yeah, I know. Isn't that awesome? Lost 35 pounds. He looks great. I mean, that's someone who has now found their racing weight, their fighting weight, right, Nathan? Good job, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving that story. Great to hear. Absolutely great. So, now the down and dirty here, they are like remember what I said. They were maybe going to be able to bring back some time here. They've kind of jumped up on the leaderboard. Last time check, they were at that 10:44. Look what they pulled off here, though. Now it's a 21:07, and they're in third place. Last time around, they were all the way down in eighth or ninth. So I think they've kind of tempered themselves, and some of their other teams might have went out a little bit hot here, Dave.
Yeah, right. And pacing is such a big part of this. Experience really makes a difference. 1 second difference there up at the top at that split. It's going to be really interesting to see what we have at 22K, because at that point, they're just inside of 5K to go. Worth noting, again, some of the ground rules. I see some folks just joining us for the first time. The teams can start in WTRL. Now, we do a lot of team time trialing now because of this. WTRL was tremendously successful. It's a big part of what the ZRL, the Zwift Racing League on Tuesdays, is all about. As a matter of fact, we're coming into a team time trial race next week, so a lot of teams are doing some work together. Not recon work here because they're not racing on this course, but working as a unit. And really, I mean, there's a lot to the process of getting the team ready, getting you into the pen, and then getting out on course smoothly. So it's not something that you want to do for the first time with all the pressure of ZRL going on, that's for sure. So these Vipers here are really putting on a clinic now on how to just roll through the course here. I'm, just looking at them, I would expect this was the fastest time, but the reality is, well, let's see, new splits coming in. So the Dynamo's in with a 29:16, but they're right in the hunt here. No doubt. As a matter of fact, one really strong last lap, if you've been able to keep a little bit in reserve, really should pay off for you out here. So there's seconds to be won and lost the final time up the leg snapper out here. Most of these teams, that reality is coming up pretty quickly here.
Yeah,
So
I definitely
Dynamo's in
want
with
to
a
get
20.
through our features here with the deer. They put in a lot of work here, these teams. I love it, what they've done for us to let us know. This is going to be Matt Lawrence here. Races 2 times the ZRL and 2 times the TTT each week. Matt Lawrence. I mean, wow. Part of a riot as well as OTR shenanigans. Great to see, it sounds like. So that means I race against Matt, actually. A lot of time on that Zone 14, it sounds like. Ironman Hawaii qualifier and finisher. 60-mile treadmill ultra complete. Wife Julie races for WTRL. Couple goals. Drop her in a heartbeat, of course. Oh, man. Shots fired. And he's also, it says he's came back from a heart condition. So pretty cool. I mean, these background stories on these, athletes are always amazing to read.
Yeah, they really are. This community is tremendously inspiring. And throughout the 14 different zones that we have racing on every Thursday, there's usually about 6,000. Actually, I want to talk to the pictures here, Nathan, as I think they have to say goodbye to a rider, and these are tough decisions
That
to
is
make.
Going to be Kyle. That is going to be Kyle, one of our featured video riders here. It does look like from his point of view as well. He's struggling. He's got it in front of him, but he's put his work in. They've only got a half a lap to go. And they've
Yeah,
really upped their game so far too when it comes to the time. So, the other teammates here, K Dan, as you can see, holding in steady, and they've got enough for the finish. Just need to get over the leg snapper with 4, really.
exactly. So they've even got wiggle room right now. Kyle participated in more than 3/4 of the effort out here. So good job, Kyle. You can punch the clock as the team now. He will get the time that what the team does. He's part of that effort, no doubt. So team time trialing really is about how can we just move through this race as quickly as possible. And sometimes there's going to be a rider that has done their work. And we're at this moment now where these guys realize it's going to be really it's grinta that you're going to be looking for here on this next time up the leg snapper. That's for sure. Just dig in.
Looking K Dan here now. TTT each week, second week with the big dogs. It's being said here. Started racing Zwift in January of this year. Due to ride John O'Groats to Land's End in 2 months' time in 10 days. He's a husband and father of 2 girls, professional guitarist by day and night. Wow, that's interesting. Pretty cool to see. Played county table tennis as a junior, still in some regional tournaments, and gets terrorized by people twice his age playing table tennis. Oh my gosh, I'm loving these features. You've learned the best things, that's for sure.
A father of 2 daughters is also extremely cool. I gotta say, this team has become one of my new favorites out here. Oh, looks like we've got Tom now. So Tom, well, he's done Ironman Nice.
A lot of triathletes on this team. Interesting.
Yeah, there are. Also done the London Marathon. A father of 3. That's he's got a lot going on, I must say. And Tom is more than holding his.
4 left.
Here we go.
This is it. They've let go of K-Dan.
Well, you know what, Nathan, I'd be okay with that, actually, 4 left at this point, because they are going to fly to the finish line. Now, absolutely, K-Dan, that's the rider that's dangling here. I would say keep pushing. Don't be, we might need your time today. And they certainly are going to want to stay up in the Premier League. And that's what this is all about is, you have to re-qualify week after week. You're only as good as last week's team time trial. So, yeah, keep going, guys. 4 riders here. They're going to be right in the mix for a top 3 out here today as we get to watch and see really what it's all about. Now, ideally, you finish with 4 to tell you. Well, I guess ideally you finish with 5 because, you never want to be right down to it. But certainly, as you get down that last trip over the leg snapper, most teams should be dropping a rider, to tell you the truth, Nathan.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. If you've done it right, you're probably going to come to the line with only 4 to 5 riders, really, because you've sacrificed a lot for the team up front, and you've gone over effort with a lot of these riders. So, John Poole, our last of the, we'll be able to feature in the Vipers here. He does the ZRL for Quick, what I'm hearing, as well as Quick and Dirty EMA in Division A1 and the TTT each week. He's a Grand Fondo World Champ. He's participating, does local time trials. Down Dirty family of teams includes D&D Blackbird, Spitfires, Phantoms from recently celebrated 1-year anniversary on 16th of April. Cool to see. And he wants to shout out to his Craig Pike, is what I'm hearing, who normally races with the team. Get well soon, man, is what I'm hearing. A little bit of a drop off there from John. I'm seeing
same from us then.
Yeah, get well to Craig. Get well to Craig.
Yeah,
Big shout
Craig.
out to Craig. And then the last thing here is inadvertently posted Zwift Transparency weigh-in video to ZRL Facebook site one bleary-eyed morning after just waking up. At least it won't happen anymore. That's the fun fact coming from him. Is he's the guy that you saw wearing hardly anything, weighing in on the ZRL Facebook. For everybody's knowledge, just so you know, that's John. Because since we don't have a camera of him today, he posted that for us in the ZRL so that we can at least know who he is. Thanks a lot for that.
That's
John.
funny. Well, they're almost home, Nathan. A couple K to go. Oh, another fun team. This is the Czechas. We love being able to jump in. And what's going on here now? Boy, a lot going on the leg snapper here. It looks like this team, though, looks like they are flying. Holy cow. Let's go ahead and start looking at, well, they are 28-53.
28-53. Whoo!
Not quite. We are DLAX, who are out of this world today at 28:13. The time that they put up at that 22K check. Boy, this is flying by out here as we've got just about everybody. Only one team left to come through that checkpoint. That's going to be Evo Espresso. It'll be interesting to see because they have a very good time going. Let's see if they've got the fastest time, Nathan. When we have them at the check, this is going to be touch and go. So this is going to be Pedersen that we're in with. Now, I love featuring all of these teams. So this is a man who loves his Corona beer after the race. And that's certainly going to be well earned out here today. His motto is, I don't ride to add days to my life. I add to add life to my days. I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Nice. Yeah, very
good
cool.
job. So Sindre Pedersen, one of the top sprinters, 54 times that he's raced out here. And we certainly wanted to give a shout out to his beloved wife, Lynn, and his kids, Sane and Ludwig. He has a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Just about to finish
nice
up the race
job
here. Let's see how they end up coming in. This is going to be Pierre Doving. Wow, look at the effort here coming from Johnny. I mean, Pierre Doving, Johnny, this is a name. He raced for Team Experimental for a long time as well. So, I mean, obviously a very, very experienced Zwifter. As they're coming into their final sprint here, we're going to see some insane effort. And the Jekkas, man, this is a team. The feeling I'm getting from this team, because I recognize a lot of these names, but not the team name, I'm seeing like a Socks for Watts type thing on the women's side of things developing here. I'm seeing the conglomerate of lots of pretty, strong dudes amongst the Norwegian region there, obviously, but or country. But, man, they have put together quite the powerhouse, you can see.
Yeah, I have to give our man Per Johnny a shout out here. He labels himself the laziest A-plus rider out there. He eats too much, should have trained more, but he lives to beat his big brother in a bike race, and I love that attitude. Keep it going out there. These guys are pressing now. Nathan, look at this one. It's an absolute Donnybrook going on in Austria right now. A 28:13 is the fastest time at that split. It is only 1 second quicker. That's virtually a tie with Evo Espresso there. So these teams are going to be burying themselves now, scraping the bottom of the barrel on the way to the finish line. Nathan, I can't wait to see who pulls this one out. They're always better. Wins are even sweeter when you end up in an intense competition to get it. What a battle royale we've got going on in Innsbruck right now. The thriller in Innsbruck. And the Czechs, the team that we've been in with. Now, this is Sindre Pedersen that we are in. We're in with right now.
That's my bad. That's my fault. The Sindre.
We're moving to it. That's Sindre. Yep.
Yeah, and
good
he's
job,
suffering.
my man.
Looking at the camera, he's like, "Oh my goodness!" And they're just coming across the line. I mean, look at the suffering here from the riders. They are just so done, as you can see. Othrin here as well, another rider that you can just see the suffering in the faces here. What it's like. Doving. I mean, this is. That's me right there. Actually, during my cobbled. The recon for cobbles next week, the ZRL is out on the cobbled climbs next week. I said, if you have hands in the air at the finish line, I'm not sure you did it right. That's the look right there. If you did it right, that is it right there. You left everything out there, and you are over the handlebars, absolutely dead. That is when you know you've done it right here, out in the TTT.
Nathan, let me give a shout out to all the Czechs guys here as Bjorn Osgeiler. They really made a nice effort to join us today, and we appreciate that. We already mentioned Per Johnny. Kaj Andre Doven is another one of the sprinters on the team. 439 races on Zwift. Absolutely awesome. Trond Kolsted. I apologize for my horrible Norwegian. Or pronunciation, I should say. We are always going to be working on that. Again, these are all cool dads. It looks like, they all seem to be. It looks like maybe a Norwegian cousin of our friend OJ, Evenborg there, 65 races. We had Erik Volen, Sindre Pedersen we were in camera with, and then Per Christian as well today, Per Christian Eidvik. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you participating. A lot of the men are already done, and we've got the women out on course here. It's going to be really interesting to see what all of our final results look like today. We've got a lot of cool teams racing with us.
Yeah, we'll be. I'm gonna go ahead and jump on in. I'm gonna see if I can jump in with the lattes a little bit too. The feature this week was with the espresso slash doppio, but we'll see if we can jump in a little bit with the lattes, man, because we did get a feature that did come through. I think there was a little bit of confusion on the features, so and it was good of them, and we can probably use that in our latte as well in the future. It's always good to have all of the information to be able to reference to. But if we can jump in with the Valhalla, we will do so, as they most likely are still out on course.
All right. So again, this is going to be the leg snapper. We're getting waiting for our first splits to come in. You can see 5.2K in. I hit the refresh button for everyone here. 27, just under. I put my thumb on the scale there. Just under 27K of racing today. And we're going to, again, get a good feel for the teams that have a strategy that keeps the team intact up and over the top. Because really, one of the things you don't want to do is trying to regroup the team when you could be pouring it on. And that's over the top of the leg snapper here.
I'm just gonna go ahead and jump
8%
across
grade.
over real quickly to the men, back to the men's race real quick, because these guys did put an effort in for us this week. Women, they're just getting out with their splits, and so we don't really have those in as of yet. Let's go ahead and see how things are playing in with the lattes. These guys are just about to finish up, actually, and it's great to see. And a big shout out to them for making this awesome effort that they did. I do believe they're in with the lattes. I hope I'm not making a mistake here. And it is going to be Valhalla. They're having an amazing time, actually, with Danielson here, 31:22. They're just crossing line, finishing up. As you can see, that 31:22, they were the top team, and they were pulling away by about solid 30 seconds, actually. Great job by them, Arn Danielson and the rest. I want to give a shout out to them and just let them know, hey, guys, we will, Vigard as well as Arn Danielson, when we do feature the Valhallas, we will bring you guys in here. They did provide us with some information and cameras, but we were on the espressos this week. But great. Looks like they took out the Willie Rhinos. As long as they held on to that 30 seconds, it looks like they were able to make that happen this week.
Yeah, that's a nice buffer to have, 30 seconds. You never do know out there, but certainly a very, very good indicator. The Woolly Rhinos have always been one of the most impressive teams and obviously a hard team to beat. So there's a big day for Vikings Valhalla out here in our lattes. Those are the splits, not the final times that we're looking at, although the final times are probably coming. Let's give a shout out, though, to all of the Viking Valhalla riders. Arne Danielson, you were just talking about, Leif Erik Garvik, Vegard Haugen, and Per Morten Ellingson there. So going back now, so again, with 6,000-ish racers out here today in all of our different time zones, I wish we could spend time with every team, but it's nice to be able to highlight some new squads out here this week. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do is definitely these highlights. It's always amazing, and you get to see exactly the kind of efforts that are being thrown out there. So one of my favorite things about the community racing is the powering of these avatars, the people behind the avatars, always the best.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always interesting. So it doesn't always need to be, or a lot of times it isn't in the super elites or the pros, where you hear these stories of tremendous weight loss or addiction recovery. There's all kinds of different things that folks have been able to use this platform to help them move their life along in a positive way. And the psychological aspect, the mental health aspect of the WTRL is something that it's really hard to qualify or quantify, but it clearly exists. And the comrade, you see so many folks that find their tribe, for lack of a better term, their group of friends that they love communicating with. The team time trial is oftentimes much more than just showing up and racing on Thursdays. Usually they'll do some recon work together, and you really just become friends in the greatest sense of that term. So this is going to be, Nathan, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what category we're in the C's here. So let me move over. A lot of data today.
Vienna Espresso, the on course here right now, and at the front it's gonna be Caroline, Janie, Michelle, and Sarah,
Which pen
hammering
do they
away.
start out of?
They
Which pen
start
do
in
these ladies
C's.
start?
They start in the
There
C's.
we go. All right. Very good.
And this will be the first ones
So,
to go out, I believe. Live by Cycling Fierce, if I'm not incorrect. They were the first ones to jump out on course. And then Sisu Du followed up by TFC Vixen, BRT Atomic Kittens, and then Canyon Esports. Sox Watts Aero Unicorns are also out on course right now.
all right. So out in Innsbruck here today, we were talking about the exciting news coming out of Zwift HQ and the Olympic Games coming up in Tokyo. It's great that we're in that less than 100-day countdown, well under that now. So a lot of excitement, new relationships being built.
I think they're struggling just a tad here.
Looking for a
Little bit
fourth
off the
rider.
back.
There it is.
Yeah,
There she
1 second
is.
back now. Live by Cycling need to get it together. It does look like D Rose here and the rest of this Sisu Du team, only with 3 riders. They may have started with 4, so they might be able to get away with this one. We'll see how that ends up playing out amongst them. Or they might have dropped off one, and that would be a tough day for them. Or maybe some sort of a crash. Who knows? They might have had a little bit of a technical. They're being chased down by TFC Vixen now, as it's going to be Pullman, Bullock, and then Eustace C. Armstrong. 5 riders still. This team's looking really strong, actually.
Yeah, I would agree. Very organized at this point here. TFC Vixen.
Start getting some splits to come on in. On the women's side of things, it does look like it's struggling just a little bit more than usual. So we'll see what ends up pulling through. We'll get the as we wait for those. We will also maybe get some looks at the situation for the results on the men's side of things, men's/mixed side of things. As I do believe those are going to be updating pretty quickly. I'm very interested to see how Blur went. Actually today amongst Zone 6, I believe they were in, going at around right the same time as our Platinum League. Got a new friend hanging out in amongst OTR Blur. We'll see if they were able to qualify back into the Platinum League this week. I'm also interested to see what these course records are going to be like this week here, Dave, because this is a course that's been written before, I believe, but not a whole lot of times, and we might start seeing something pretty special out here.
Do we have the course records?
Let's see if we can get them up here in just a moment.
That would be something good to look at. Very interested to see what they would be. Typically, these records are, there's certain periods of time when it gets really competitive out in the world of WTRL, and this seems like one of those weeks, to tell you the truth. I would expect we'll see a lot of records being broken if I had to guess, but I don't know when the last time we raced here was. I apologize for that. It's good to have Canyon out racing with the men and the women out here. You can see some of the big names in esports as Canyon, Sox for Watts, the Aero Unicorns racing today, Sisu Du and Sisu I Race Like a Girl. So TFC Vixen, the Friday Criteria, this well-known yellow jersey that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, we'll go and bring in the course records here. I do have them, and it does look like it's pretty interesting here. The situation with the Wonder Women. Now, we do have we're going all the way out to 1,000th of a second, so it's loading off of the graphic even at this point. But 2020, interesting with the 36:43. Was that set today? I wonder in the Frappe. Interesting, because I do know that they are starting to jump back in.
I'm gonna go with no. Okay. I'm gonna go with that's a previous race.
Probably right. You're probably right, because
back
I'm seeing
maybe when
Vienna
they had
Frappe.
Armstrong and Digert. Yeah,
I'm seeing Vienna Frappe here at Cryogen Blue Jays at a 41:41. So no, I don't believe, because we don't have any Vienna Espresso throughout the day as of yet. Dirty Rascals, it looks like they're with that Latte 40:55. Vienna with the Z-Sun Pluto. Word Leads Rifters. These are some old school times, actually. Now, Eva Espresso might have said that, though, just now, though. They may have.
My clue would be that 2020, don't they use 2024 now?
Good
I mean, I
call.
know it goes back and forth, but right.
No, good call. Good call. That's a good call, actually. Vikings Valhalla with that 37-37. That might have been because I think they won today, as well as Evo Espresso. Those two may have been set today, but we'll see once we get the results through. Our
100%
Black
agree.
Rhinos, Mocha, and
Right.
then the Frappe with the Innovation Alien Express. So those are the current course records. As soon as
Wonder
we
Women. Wonder Women was a team that had V. Wynn, Meredith Kessler. That was a strong team. They had about I don't know, a 20 race run. I would imagine they'll be back as well once we move into the ZRL. So Wonder Women is much like Sox for Watts. It's an all-star team made up of many different esports teams that come together to race in the WTRL. They've been one of the, I would say, if you went back and had an all-time greatest WTRL teams, and the women's side of things, they're in the top 3, top 4 squads.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look again over through. It does look like all the riders pretty much out on course. You do have the little green next to their names, meaning they have obviously started. We're waiting for the updates to come on through there. 17:48 from the banner drop at this point. It's going to be Seesaw Race Like a Girl. I did see Catherine Curry out there, and they're going to be the women to beat, I think, on the day.
Catherine Curie had a huge win this last week at her third win in the ZRL, the Swift Racing League.
Yeah, out on the KOM after party. That's a pretty big. That's probably one of the hardest courses that we've got out on Zwift. I don't want to say hardest course amongst ZRL because they have been extremely difficult so far, but pretty awesome to see.
It was
that
a challenge
coming in from Catherine Curry, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. She becomes, she and Freddie Ovid are the only 3-time individual winners. It is a team sport for sure. But with the team time trial coming up this week, I'm going to guess that, I mean, they're a team on the rise, no doubt, when you talk about Sisu. We've got the 2 Sisu top squads out here. Sisu 2 started a little bit earlier. Sisu I Race Like a Girl will be the last team out on course. This is Sox for Watts that we're in with right now. And I'm going to guess, did Sox for Watts Aero Unicorns bring a few of the WRT riders over for today's race? They can mix and match. And I think Despas might be joining the Aero Unicorns today.
Yeah, definitely. Despas is jumping in with them, and that's exactly why I actually jumped over to this team right now as we are watching Despas and having a solid ride, it looks like. And that, I think, WRT, they've not been showing up because a lot of focus coming into season 3. Obviously, they're putting all of their chips into that basket, all their eggs into that basket, I think, for the ZRL. And so because of that, I think the Aero Unicorns have kind of taken that top spot here for the TTT each week. And I think they're taking on the Platinum League with this. Because you can see there's a little bit of a WRT in here. It's a little bit of a mixture at this point. But 4 riders, and they're I think they're going to put, the rest of these teams are going to have a challenge from them. But Canyon Esports, watch out. I think they're in their practice mode because next week we're back on TTT, aren't we, for ZRL? Or no, the week
Correct.
after. Excuse me, the week after.
No,
the week after.
This week we're on Greatest London Flat, 31K.
Oh.
Yes, so it'll be absolutely getting some work in out here for being prepared. So today, let's see here now. So is this going to be Cassie Baldy?
This is James Despas. James Despas.
So interesting. I am just on Swift Power looking at Sox for Watts. And apologize here.
Does look like they're being chased very quickly, though, by the all-star team that has Carly Johan there, as well as Meredith Kessler on the front. Going to be Catherine Curry there also pulling through. So solid ride coming in here. Apologies on that. I think that's going to be one of the athlete I was talking about. That is probably trying to call me to talk to me about how it went. Actually, that would have been an interesting call to talk about how his first ever TTT came on through.
So I'm looking. So this team that we're in with right now, Kate Leigler is the rider that Nathan has the camera on. Jane Pilger, you mentioned Carly Johan, super strong rider. Catherine Curie, legend now at this point. Leah Roberts, and trying to figure out exactly who we have left because they're going to make a catch here on the 4-rider team. It's not just the numbers here that Sisu has, but that certainly helps as they will roll up on the 4 riders on Socks for Watts, and Kate Leigler taking a big pull up there right now. There's Kessler. So Meredith Kessler, another strong triathlete on this team. It does look like they're working with 5, Nathan, unless there's a rider just off the back of the team right now.
Yeah, definitely working with
Catherine
5
Curie, Johan, right? Strong team here. This is one of the best teams in the world we're looking at.
Moving forward to see if we can see what's happening with, it looks like Canyon Esports. Did they make a catch? It's going to be Bexy Du, Kirsten Pohl, Stephanie Sidlick. This is an all-star team. Kristen Falk. I mean, this is, it doesn't get much stronger than this as well. And I think this is going to be the team that's going to be thinking about Sisu, I Race Like a Girl. It's essentially, you're looking at this interesting show up here where TTT ZRL Season 3 at the Premier Division versus Premier Division, but they're showing up in the Platinum League for a first go at it. Missing your microphone there, Dave.
Kristen Falk is a monster here on the front. Look how organized Canyon is as well. That's exactly what you want your team to look like. Well, it'd obviously be better if it was 8 riders together, but they were in a good formation as they came up and over the top of the leg snapper. And here we go. Watch them pick up speed now. Up on the top of your screen there, you can see they're going over 63 kilometers per hour. Good job by Canyon.
Right on into that super tuck, as you can see, still a lap and a half to go. Maxie do come over the front as well as Kristen Falk, not getting the super tuck though and slowing down to 45. Interesting to see 10-6 here coming from Sidlick, now going to pull right on through. It does look like they let one rider go. Not sure that Dixon's going to get back on terms here, and they're going to have to go ahead maybe with just the 4. As it is going to be the rider just fading away. And that is the reality of the snowball effect. That is the roll through speed. If you do not find that wheel quickly, they can be gone so fast. Dixon now 62. She's looking to try and get in super tuck, it looked like for a moment, but it's down to 56 kilometers per hour, 3.5. And at the front, Pohl, are they actually waiting? Nah, right now, that the kind of speed they're losing from that weight though, that is a lot of time. And my question is, I mean, what is Dixon going to bring to the table at this point besides losing time, in my opinion?
Well, part of it might be that this is WTRL and they want to keep the team together as this was meant to be a race to get better as a team rather than, right. It's not just about getting the best time out here. It's about keeping the riders that need the practice practicing.
Yeah, that's a great point actually here. Stephanie Sigler now 4.8.
Canyon's
Here's the pull now 3.9. As you can see, sitting in, bringing it back together.
Nathan, all of these teams are always a work in progress, right? They're almost always bringing on new riders, and getting them up to speed with team time trialing is tricky. And that's what WTRL, one of the things that's been really great for the ZRL racing team. ZRL is the top esports racing league in the world. Some of these teams race, some of the riders that you see with us today compete at that highest level. So if Canyon, and I mean, I think it's fair to say, Nathan, do you know of a team that isn't looking for another quality rider, an A-plus rider? I don't. I've never heard of a team that wasn't interested in at least chatting with you to see if you're a good fit. But you also have riders that maybe are an A-minus rider that you want to try to bring up and develop. And that's really a great indicator, isn't it, for teams that are working to develop riders at the same time as participating in the Premier League.
looking at the BRT team here just behind them, they're not letting this go easily. They were
Yeah.
caught, but they're like, no, we need to bring these riders back in as quickly as, I mean, it also gives them a carrot to chase, which must be, kind of nice. You have been caught at this point. There can be a little bit of I'm going to get this
Yeah. A
back.
little
Going
bit
to
of a
get inside
poking
of
the
you a little.
bear.
Yeah, exactly. So see what happens there. Roberts to the front. 4-4, getting organized, it looks like here. You can see, as you watch the avatars jostle around a little bit, um, so to give an idea of the experience of the riders, though, of what they're experiencing in their pedal strokes and in the efforts that they're putting out. You see how that avatar just popped out? Right now, the entire goal is to get it back into a straight line. Something went wrong there. You see, and the only reason I'm saying something went wrong is because the rider
Look at him
now
doing that,
to the
yeah.
front. Fairweather now to the front. Now, do you see how Perry goes, that's my wheel I need to follow? And this rider to the back. Now it got reorganized. That was very well done, actually, by Perry. Did you see how Perry, what she did there is she anticipated that her rider's wheel was going to the front and just put out enough to go by on the other side, though, of that avatar. So you can see that Perry's super, super experienced and knows where to go when it comes to Perry and how the finessing of the wheels is here. Very well done by the BRT rider.
It's the application of the power at the right time. That's the timing. That's what finesse means. And the ability, the easiest way to get your team back in line is for one captain to go to the front and move it back into the line. It's like snapping a whip, right? Someone has to make that effort. You can't all back off a little bit and get it back in line. You do it with one rider taking command. It's an awesome job. BRT Bolt Racing Team, Atomic Kittens here. This is Perry that we're in with. All right, so it'd be interesting to see how they're matching up. It's also, it's going to be really interesting when we do get a feel for where we're at out here. 18K in, so they're down to about less than 10K to go at this point. One more
Got a
trip
little bit
up
of
the
help
leg
there
snapper.
from our man Martin. Thank you very much to WTRL for getting the data moving for us. There was a couple of updates that happened on the back end, and now it's all fixed and ready to go here. And Canyon Esports look to be walking away with this one with the 2240 here, over the top.
Hold on. Wait for Sisu's time. Let's wait for Sisu's time.
11:24, 4 seconds back. You're right. You're right. A little bit of an early call there from me because Canyon Esports were the 5th seed. Soxer Watts and Sisu there were faster than them last time out.
Oh, Sisu should. I'm going to guess that Sisu puts. Well, I think that they're going to be 10 seconds quicker, just as my feel here. We'll find out, but that's a strong Sisu team. And Canyon did have a little bit of a bobble earlier, although they're back with 4 riders. So they're going forward with 4 here. And fastest time at that split by quite a bit now. But again, we're waiting for Sisu. I Race Like a Girl and Soxer Watts Aero Unicorns, although I think Sisu I Race Like a Girl might be a little quicker.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. And I do think you're right that little bit, that 4 seconds, probably, even if they're well matched against each other, that was a tough section for them where they may have lost a solid 10 seconds even right there where they were waiting up for the dropped rider.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me as well. Stephanie Sidlick, the American, she's moved over to Canyon. I was going to say recently, but it's not that recent now. She's an established player on the team. Things move quickly in the world of esports as well, but she has fit right in, as you can see her. Bexy Dew. We had a great time with Bexy a couple of weeks ago, the British Army team that we were with. So that's a great example as well, Nathan, of a rider who's on multiple different teams, and it all makes sense. We love what Bexy is all about. She's been a rider that has had a great trajectory in esports. So they are definitely honing their skills out here when you look at Canyon today.
Moving through, let's go ahead and move our way back to the front of this race and see how things are playing out. Because when we first got going, we actually did not get to feature the front runners and their times very well. So we'll make sure that we go ahead and do that. This is actually going to be C-Star Race Like a Girl, though. Is this going to be due, though? This is going to be due. So this is going to be the 5th currently out on the road there. Fifth, 3 seconds behind the BRT. Atomic Kittens there. 23:47 is
There you
what their
go.
time's at.
So I said about 10 seconds quicker. It was 6 quicker there for Sisu.
Well, it's
Is
still
there
a
into the
battle then. If Canyon
22:34?
can rally, it's quite
Yeah.
a battle still. I mean, this is closer than I was expecting, but Canyon, they're showing up and showing that they're here to race. And it's a good trading ground here because that is one of the top teams that in the world of Zwift racing. And, ZRL most likely the big goal, and this is going to be the training grounds. If they can beat them on the TTT on Thursday, they're obviously going to show
Good
up with a better
indicator.
squad on Tuesday, so interesting to see how it plays out.
It's already a good sign, isn't it, for Canyon Esports? I mean, this is basically deadlock. 6 seconds. I mean, obviously that's an advantage for Sisu. I race like a girl, but that's tight, very tight. Yeah, good job, Canyon Esports, TFC Vixen. They can be very happy with their ride today. A 23:31 in at third. So BRT, the Atomic Kittens, with a 23:44. So that's going to be close there for the final spot on the podium because Sisu Du is just a couple seconds back behind that. Sox for Watts Aero Unicorns with a 24:01. And there's our final time check. Live by Cycling Fierce, a 25:53. So everybody is through the mid-race check there, Nathan.
Oh, and we're changing kits, it looks like, real quick there. Balak here now. And then it's going to be used
That's a first.
Pullman. It looks like chasing things down, though, and that's going to be, interesting to see Stephanie Signick. A little bit of a solid pull. They're getting motivated, it looks like. 5.1, 176 per minute going into.
They're racing to win.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, this is a full all-in effort here coming from Sidlick right now. Almost 5 watts per kilogram on the front.
What kind of wheel does she have on the back of her bike there?
That is going to be the new graphics for the Zips, actually. That's the new Zip graphics. So
new graphics, same wheel.
That's the 808, but with the new graphic instead of the 850. I think 808 full, I believe.
Wow, that's a slick look, isn't it? Good job, Stephanie Sidlick. Stephanie is a doctoral candidate in Pittsburgh. Actually, she might have her doctorate. I apologize. I'm not exactly up to speed on the latest, but a huge brain and engine for Stephanie Sidlick.
Yeah, we are seeing Chris Dew come on through saying, "Go Canyon." A little bit of cheering on, obviously, for Bexy, I would see there as well as they go through the cobbled section. This is a section where they do got to match a little bit more of the power of the riders around them. We saw the effects of these sections out on course, obviously, last week in ZRL race number 2. Steamroller really made that obvious. No steamrollers today except for Bexy Dew's watts as she pushes 172 beats per minute right now, 39 kilometers per hour. See the gap open up a little bit, and that has everything to do with the acceleration through. The other riders need to match her a little bit more because of that section, of course. Now it's going to get smoother, and they head right on in to the climb, rolling through with speed. They're going to have to attack this if they want to really take down the reality of Sisu Race Like a Girl, Catherine Curry, Ligler, and the rest of the team, because, I mean, Johan, Kessler, they are on, but it's 2 minutes back still. This is close here, Dave. This is very close. It's locked. It's deadlocked, really.
Yeah, but here's the problem. I honestly think that this team has set a schedule that they're going to be able to put a negative split in at the end of the race because they will be able to have Catherine Curie go into Curie mode and just double down
Curie
on these
mode.
pulls. Now, yeah, I mean, she's just an unbelievable rider. There's no doubt. So, it's really interesting to think that we're coming up on 20 years ago that she was U.S. road champion at the elite level. And that was a heyday for women's racing in the United States when she was able to wear that Stars and Stripes jersey. So these women have got their work cut out for them, but they're up to the task. No doubt about it. This is what bike racing is all about. I think tonight I'm going to go watch Godzilla versus King Kong, but I might not need to because I got this. This is going to be really, really good. All right, Canyon, let's pour it on. Throw some coal on the fire here as they're down to 4K to go. A little bit less than 4K.
Look what Stephanie's doing. This is great. 7.6
Super
over
ride.
the top, not
Super.
resting, getting everybody over 60, then super tucking, Now, will Falk come in with this experience? One of the longest standing, most experienced riders out in the world of Zwift racing. Kristen Falk, will she roll through is going to be the question. She does. Now she needs to up it, though. Don't keep on. 0% grading at 0 watts per kilogram is the worst thing to see. Oh, the timing there. But Siglet comes right on through. Maybe that's the plan actually there for Sidlick and Do actually to take over because the others need a little bit of rest because Bexy now pushes 39 kilometers per hour. They probably needed something more like a 41 or 42 though because we'll have to watch and see. Watch those numbers of speed. It's about the speed, not just the watts per kilogram. What will C-Star Race Like a Girl come through at that same exact section? Let's try and remember because that's going to be a really interesting comparison. That was pretty cool to see. All into the perfect super tuck. Just for that little moment that they got there, that was a very well-placed tactic there from them. Now Sidlick there, 8.9, making sure she does not get dropped off. She's going to have to roll through, though, with that at 50 kilometers per hour. Perhaps no, they're just going to let Dude out take over.
Yeah, these are the finer points that we're talking about now. You're looking at two of the teams that are the best in the world. So there is, when you look at it, the marginal gains that you're looking for. So this is going to be, there. We were in with Sisu. Now we're in with BRT Atomic Kittens. That Sisu, A Race Like a Girl time is only 3 seconds quicker at 22K. We got ourselves a Donnybrook. No doubt about it.
Canyon Esports. They brought back 3 seconds.
This is amazing. They really are racing with all heart out there when you talk about Canyon. Now, does Sisu have one loaded up? Is there a knockout blow coming? Who knows?
61. 61 was the number. They got the 61, but the other riders are off the back. Now they're speeding up. How do they play this section right here? Do they get out of 0 watts per kilogram? Ligler's actually already pushing. Good on her. It's going to be Carly Johan, now 60 kilometers per hour. Will they drop under 39 kilometers per hour? That's the matching speed, but we see a really good pull here from Catherine Curry to keep the speed up. Look at how many more kilometers per hour. They pulled 3 more over the top because of the timing of their watts, the roll through. You know, the tactical nature of Zwift, you can see it right in front of you here. And, so often, it's just a wattage competition. And no, right there, you saw it in front of your eyes, the difference between the timing of their watts, 65 kilometers per hour on this section versus before what we saw from Canyon was 61 or 62. That's a few seconds right there that was just brought back by this C-Star Race Like a Girl team. Just not from the watts even, from the timing, Dave, the timing from them.
Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. One of the things that has been amazing to watch is a huge engine and brain. I mean, I was talking about Sidlick. Well, Catherine Curry's in that same group. And as they start to figure out Zwiftcraft, because the finer points of Zwift are going to be the difference makers out here. We're back in with Canyon. They've got about let's call it a 1.3K to go at this point. This has been an impressive ride from the Canyon Esports team today. Again, one of the premier teams in the sport. And Nathan, let's remember this moment because this is doing work out here today. If you want to get better, this is how you sharpen your sword, by showing up at WTRL. And got to give some credit to Canyon Esports. They have turned this into one of the best races. Week 105 consecutive races, races here on the WTRL. We're in with the TFC Vixen now. They look like they were just finishing there.
Yeah, that was the start-finish banner that we saw, and they are. 32 was the last checkpoint for them. A little ways back, but an amazing ride by them, holding on to 3rd place. So amazing job. As long as they were able to hold off the BRT Atomic Kittens, according to the splits that we saw last. Now, this is going to be the ride, though, from Canyon Esports, bringing it in. They were 3 seconds behind at the last split. You can see the time between themselves, and it's going to be 5-second split at this point here as you look back behind them there. I believe, according to the on-screen times currently, this is going to be Live by Cycling Fierce. They were caught by the rest of the teams out here, so a little ways behind for them on their time at 35 minutes back, or 35 minutes at the last, 35 minutes, at the last checkpoint. But it's going to be T. Roberts here from the Kittens trying to hold off and maybe even bring back the time from TFC. But as you said, negative split, perhaps. Catherine Curry, 5-4 on the front there, Dave.
Yeah, these are big numbers now, although It looks a little shattered as I think they're going to get 5 across the line. Let's use 37-14. Oh, there we go. So this looks like they should be good to me here. We're jumping around looking at a few different riders right now. We'll
Oh,
get
that
back
was
in,
one
but
of their
there they are.
teammates. That was their
Yep.
teammate. You said 5. There's
She's
actually 4. There's
she's
4
so,
here.
so she's done. She's not participating. There we go. That's the team now. And I'm saying 37-14 is going to be my estimated finish time that we saw from Canyon. So let's see. I think it's obviously going to be close. It's going to be a few seconds. There's the arch. Looks like they've got it done. So that negative split, they were able to put that together, Nathan. This is a solid ride, but they were tested today by Canyon Esports out here.
Kessler to the line, going to lead it out at 7 watts per kilogram. Curry sitting in at 5.2. It looks like they put everything out there on course today as they're going to go ahead and roll through because no one's up and out of the saddle really at this point. It's just a roll through at 6 watts per kilogram. That says a lot as they finish up.
Yeah, they did a really good job of pacing themselves today, Nathan, talking about Sisu, a race like a girl. You got to give Canyon credit, though. They made a real race out of that one today.
Yeah, amazing
this is
job
gonna be
by Canyon. And I think Canyon just have a couple of patches, a couple patches on the sweater here.
They've got room to grow.
The boat was leaking a little bit, couple corks, get a couple patches, and you can bring, they'll be smooth sailing, I think, to some top spots, maybe some wins here. Because from what I saw there, it had more to do with getting the right timings and organization at certain points, and maybe not so much just a Watts versus Watts situation. So great on them and really solid ride. Now we don't know yet. We're making some assumptions here, but it does look like we're estimating. But it does look like it was C-Star Race Like a Girl that was able to take that.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. Absolutely, that is just a thumbnail. Yes, just Despis on the front, very experienced, talented rider here. Going to try to bring Socks for Watts, the Aero Unicorns, home with a good time out here today.
Solid job by them. 6 watts per kilogram on the front. Despas, always a very solid rider, and she is currently, they were 6th overall in the Vienna Espresso here, 10 seconds behind Sisu Du. We'll see if they're able to bring that back as they cross the line. Well, that's going to be all of the racers in the Vienna Espressos as well as the Espressos and the Doppios across the line. Dave, the results are what's going to be up next. The other thing I would like to speak to is happening with ZCL and a couple of the announcements. The IOC announcement that we saw, that was pretty amazing, pretty cool to see. One other thing with the update that dropped yesterday, if you didn't know, you're hanging out in Zwift, you can go ahead and push the H button now, and your HUD will disappear. You can just ride with nothing.
Let me hit H.
You can just ride and have an awesome experience of. And so if you don't like seeing all the data all the time,
the whole screen just becomes the user interface is the world, right? Yeah.
You don't see any data on it. You just get the immersive experience is the idea, which is interesting to see. And one thing that I would say, and I wanted to bring this up because of the TTT, is that practicing that will give you a really good feel of letting go of the numbers and looking more at the avatar and knowing how to interact with the avatars and the environment around you. And how are you supposed to ride each one of these sections? Because if you're really focused on the numbers, but there's a lag on the numbers and you're not looking in the right, you're not focused, giving your attention to the right spot about how to use those numbers. And then, with that blind spot there, I think it might help. At least it helps me to focus in on the avatars. And I've ignored, the watts on screen as much as I possibly can. But if you're kind of hooked on that, well, it takes that handicap away and makes it so that you really just have to focus in on what's happening with the avatar in front of you and whether or not you're drafting it correctly and whether or not you're finessing it correctly to get a good team time trial pace line going. So great little addition there coming out from Zwift in this latest update. So very, very cool.
Every old school bike racer in the world right now who's listening is nodding and smiling, Nathan. Racing by feel, learning that instead of relying on the data is a great idea. I couldn't recommend. I think that really it's a mix of the two. right? But you need to learn how to do both, and you'll find yourself being a much, much better racer, to tell you the truth. That's really good advice, Nathan, certainly. And that's a cool feature. It's interesting how that would really help you describe when less can be more, right? That's a good example of that for a lot of us out there. And I know I'll be riding in that mode.
Quick little story on that front. There was an event immersion mode that I jumped into where everyone in the event had everything turned off. And so I just started attacking off the front, and no one knows because there's no friends list nearby, and no one knows where anyone is unless you are told that someone's up front or you watch them go. You watch them go,
Nathan,
right?
That's like what the Tour de France was like 100 years ago, where the only information you would get would be from the drunk guy in front of the post office as you came through. Right? I mean, that was about it. There was no data to work with, and I think that's exciting and fun.
It was exciting. It was exciting. You had chat though still, so you saw chat come through, and so it was who's off the front, and I was like, oh, don't worry about them. You kind of throw some like, oh, it's just that guy, or there isn't anybody there, or whatever, and you kind of can play some tricks a little bit. That was a lot of but this is different because it's each individual user's experience on the H button. But we'll get into the results here. Let's take a quick look and see if we do have them up and ready to go. It does look like we do. So in the Dopios for today, let's go ahead and check this on out. It looks like it's going to be without our music. It's supposed to have some music. Come on now. Here we go.
There it is.
And go ahead, take it away, Dave. These guys have been walking away every week. Wow.
Yeah, holy cow. Another command performance from the INC Euro Aliens in Doppio, 33-24. Nathan, that has to be a course record. We'll see. Wow, good job, INC. Cryo RDT Vultures, another one of our top teams, finishing 28 seconds back for the silver today. We are DLAX. They had a solid ride to take the bronze here. Canyon Esports for fourth. On the Rivet Blur in fifth. Vision sixth. INC Alien Monsters. They'll take the seventh spot. Kirkmeyer Development in eighth. Z-Sun-R, the Red Giants, round out our top 9 fastest times. You can see almost all of them coming out of Premier League. On the Rivet Blur was in Zone 6, who raced basically the same time we did. Kirkmeyer Development, Zone 5, same story there. So all these times just coming in fresh. That's
pretty
your dope.
Solid result there. Shout out to Siggy and On the Rivet Blur. I know he made it for 2 laps from what I'm hearing. So 2 laps for him. We'll jump in real quickly with Vienna Espresso, then we'll jump back on over to the Espressos here as we reload the page. It's going to be C-Spray Race Cycle Girl with 37.15. You were right on the money there with about 15 seconds there, Dave. Cannon Esports, it looks like women at 37.31. TSZ Cake Pops. Nice job to the Cake Pops with 30.06 out of Zone 5. TFC Vixen hold on for fourth there in 38.57. BRT Atomic Kittens 39.04 for fifth. It's going to be Sisu Du 39.28 and sixth. It's going to be Sucks for Watts Arrow Unicorns in seventh, and eighth is in the Vienna Espresso. So far for the day is 42.32. Live by Cycling Fierce. And still lots of racing though to go throughout the day, so these could change up a little bit. In the Espressos, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Evo Espresso, well, they nailed it, 34.11. That is a quick time. Good job, your gold standard there. Dirk Diggler in second for the silver, down at Dirty Vipers. Great being in with them today. They took the bronze medal, and look how close they were to the silver. Great racing today for all of our Espressos. And fourth, it's INC Alien Express. Adam Racing Team Nuclear in fifth. Jekkas in sixth. TSZ Waffle. By the way, thanks to the Jekkas team as well for letting us join you today. That was super fun. TSZ Waffles in seventh. Evo Espresso 2 in sixth. Then in eighth. Vikings Glipnir in ninth. And then CryoGen, the Kestrels, rounding out our top 10. There's a nice mix of teams like Dirk Diggler coming out of Zone 1 here. So that was, I believe, in our top 10, 5 of our Platinum League teams were able to hopefully hold on to their spot for next week.
Very
Look, as
close
you said,
racing too. Very close. Almost
yeah.
within a minute across them there. So solid job. Dirty Time Chasers there in the Frappes 35-45. It's going to be Kirschme Frappe 1 35-46. 1 second difference at the top. Whew. So close. Z-Sun Red Dwarfs there. 7 seconds back. Eat Dirt. And that's the podium for us. In 4th place, Eat Dirt, followed up by Z Scott Kelpies. In 6th place, Vikings Fenrir. R3 RACDC jamming in 7th. Team Type 1 CGM's there in 8th. ZRG RTTT in 9th. Evo Vortex 40 seconds back. Well, all within the minute there across them. Great job to the Frappes with that battle.
All right, let's take a look now at the lattes, and this is Vikings Valhalla with a 37-39. That's good for the win here in our Platinum League. It's going to be Crowdgen, the Piwaka Wakas in silver spot, and the RR Woolly Rhinos in the bronze medal spot. TFC Spitfire for 4th, Z-Sun R Kronos in 5th, Team ODZ Destroyers of Cookies. Rounding out our top 6, Vikings Molnir in 7th, Eat Dirt 2 in 8th, Z-Sun R Venus. That's your 9th place team, and then TT1 Lancets round out your top 10 times, that is, from around the world up till now.
In the Mochas are our Black Rhinos there with the 41-44, followed up by Team Type 1A1Cs, and that's about 53 seconds back, so the Black Rhinos dominated it looks like, out here today. It's going to be TBR Renegades there, 127 back there for 3rd. RR Sumatran Rhinos there in 4th. Valhalla Dragvandel in 5th. Eat Dirt Troy in 6th. Ingolf in 7th. Spooky Blokes in 8th. And it's going to be Team CLS Delimited Diesels in 9th, and TFC Hurricane, they round out our top 10. Back on over to the women. Let's take a look at the Frappes.
All right, and it's Vikings Valkyrie who take the win with the 39.07. Socks for Watts, Odd Socks in at 2nd, only 31 seconds back. And then you can see Crush Pod. Good job, ladies. Rounding out our top 3, Army Cycling Women in 4th, Evo Comets for 5th, Vegan Bees in 6th, TSZ Semla in 7th, the Cryogen Blue Jays for 8th, Kirkmeyer Wild Bees in 9th, and Angular Power, our 10th fastest time so far today. Almost all of them coming out of Platinum League. Zone 3, though, on fire today. Good job, ladies.
For the Vienna Lattes, Crush Pod 2 being chased down by the... I wonder if they changed up their poster this week for not having a bear with honey, with chasing down the honey. It'd be interesting to see if they're changing that each week is what is on there. But Crush Pod 2, solid job there with the 41-42. Z Scott Alba there, 42-14. It's going to be RWBSH there with 3rd place, 42-36. Renegade in 4th. And then it's going to be GSH Gold in 5th. Greenwich Triton's Ladies there, 43-07. Two Guys Brisas in 7th. Greenwich Triton Ladies in 6th, excuse me. Two Guys Brisas in 7th, 43-56. Adam Racing Team Electrons in 8th. Virtus Slow Pink in 9th. And Hot Flush are in 10th.
Let's take a look at our Viennas and the Triceratops with the 42.04. The Socks for Watts. The brand gets another win out here today in the Viennas. Kirkmeyer Vienna Latte 1s for silver. Z-Sun R Quasars for bronze. Fearsome in 4th. TZP Laklak in 5th, BRT Inferno Kittens in 6th, TFC Blackbirds for 7th. Live My Cycling Gold, love the ladies on that team, and they're in 8th. Rave C Euro in 9th, the WTRL, the Drafting Dinos UK 1 edition. That's everybody in our top 10 coming out of Platinum League today here for the Viennas.
And let's see if our graphic there next week. Number 106, Watopia Flat Rope for 3 laps. That's going to be an interesting course.
It'll be quick.
I'm really going to dig that one. ZCL will be covering the Frappe and Vienna Frappe next week, as you can see. Make sure to be checking your details out in email. If you do get an invite, we will feature in the Frappe and Vienna Frappe for next week. So watch those emails and make sure to get a hold of us. Let us know if you want to be featured, and we'll go ahead and throw something together for you. One other thing that I definitely want to highlight here, and I do say this at the end of each broadcast for the rest of the day, because it is all about the community here at Zwift Community Live. Head on over to twitch.tv/Zwift, slash game slash Zwift. So, and I'm just going to show everybody that real quickly if you're not familiar, just to give you an idea of how this works. You head on over here, you search up Zwift, and then you can go ahead and find the game. This is the game for Zwift, and look at all this. These are all racer points of views that you can see across the board. Platinum
wow.
League, WTR, Barney's here streaming, Jonathan Craig, Dr. Weebles as well. That's going to be Lucas Verslays. I mean, lots and lots. Patrick Wally, I mean, that's a top and short rider. Deepak, ECT. You want to see some of the most experienced TTT riders because it's mainly WTRL TTT that is being streamed over here. Go check it out. Definitely something to learn as well as support the community over there. Twitch.tv/directly/game/Zwift, or you just go ahead and search the Zwift game and you'll go ahead and come up with some Zwift. Click on the game there and boom, there it is. All of those people who are currently doing where this essentially started, if you didn't know. January 2015. First, I loaded up a camera. 6 months later, I started talking about racing. Now we're here on ZCL with Dave Towle next to me. How did that happen? So
that's awesome. No, it really is, Nathan. You deserve so much credit. And you know what I love seeing is, as you're pointing out, that Twitch Zwift community is starting to really grow, and you see some very interesting people on there as well. So yeah, I love checking in with that.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome, and just really trying to help
I'll
grow
watch
that
you tonight.
community. Yeah, appreciate it. For Zone 14, I'll be out there hammering away. I'm actually trying some new things. I'm trying to create some like playlists in my stream that show lots of different perspectives of Zwift while I'm doing the TTT so that you can kind of see how the avatars are interacting more, as well as my effort at the same time. So we'll see how that plays out. Definitely trying to create this best of content as we can, because a lot of it has to be automated because you're just head down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how you do it.
It's just head down. So
yeah.
So I don't either.
Which is more challenging? Which is more challenging for you, doing a regular WTRL broadcast?
This by far. This by far.
This is more.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're bringing in so many elements, right?
There's just. I mean, you're definitely bringing in a lot of stuff, and prep is really what it's all about. Is just how prepped it is. So. Yeah.
And I'd like to add too, the teams, Nathan, it's really cool when they give us, so, I can't remember the movie that says, I think it's Tobey Maguire, help me help you, right?
Yeah.
And it's sort of the same thing here. It's like those teams that participate, I think it's fun. Well, it's fun for your families and your friends to see you racing. It really is. And it allows Nathan and I to feel so much more connected when we can learn about you. So taking the time to fill out those quick little forms helps out a ton, and it just makes us connect even more. So
we do have a new form for it now too. So it's great now. Like
it's not that
quick
hard.
and easy, pop, and it isn't a big, we've tried to make it as easy as possible for everybody to really get to know you.
As Nathan said, it's all about the community, and that's you. So keep on participating, because Nathan, it's really important is that it's a two-way street. I mean, here's a perfect example. Bexy Dew, right? And she helped facilitate us learning about that British Army women's team. The number of tweets and the feedback, and it went on for 10 days after the race. I saw people saying, hey, yeah. And I was like, wow, well, that's where it really does work, right? Because they're inspiring other folks. Maybe some new folks try out Zwift, and the British Army team gets some new fans. So it all feeds on itself. That's for sure.
100%. Well, big shout out to everybody that did participate today. Everybody who watched in the broadcast, really appreciate all you guys and gals. And just absolutely awesome to see everybody jumping in. And if you haven't done so already, obviously hit those follow buttons, turn on your notifications if you want to know anytime that we go live. And we'll see you later tonight over on Twitch if you're going to jump on in with everybody suffering. And besides that, we will be back for ZRL race number 4, TTT Greater London Flat, next week. So thanks, everybody. And as always, ride on.